What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7. Live on hot7025fm.com.
Hey, it's Icarice, and I'm here to tell you about Hotcast for Podcasting. We are a podcasting studio located in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Hot 702.5 FM studios. You can book online at hot7025fm.com. Just click on Hotcast. You can book and find your times right there. Thank you for booking with Hotcast for Podcasting.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars. On hot7025fm.com.
It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California's sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
Time to holla. Time to holla at the homie. What's up, y'all? Holla. It's hump day, baby. Now, we got it going on. You already know where you at. You on hot7025fm.com, the hottest station in the land. And it's hosted right now today at this particular hour by your man, 360 the Poet. That's THAPOET. Coming to you as the homie, everybody's homeboy today. You know what I mean? That's what we do each and every Wednesday. What's up, Lucy Lowe? What's going on, Sloan Jolie? What's going on, Jorge? Man, ain't gonna see you at work tonight, dog. They got me off tonight, player. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Miss Thompson? We got everybody checking in over here. We got a few people tuning in, tapping in right now, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all that tunes in and taps in with the Holla at the Homie every Wednesday, 3 o'clock p.m. my time. That means it's 5 o'clock in the Midwest, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. So some of y'all out there in traffic right now, like my homeboy Lil James Slim with the To the Brim used to say, man, you my traffic jam entertainment. What's going on, Arthur Myla Denise? Happening? What's going on with you? You got a little trip planned up this weekend. I ain't gonna tell the world where you're headed, but I know you got your travel plans in order. But all y'all that's out there traveling, it is a holiday weekend for some of y'all. For some of us, it ain't. For some of y'all, it is. I just said us because it's pre-Firecracker Day today. Pimpin' Ken in the building. What's up with you, pimpin'? You know what I'm saying? It's 6 o'clock y'all time, so y'all probably down there in traffic too, down in the A. What up, Daiquiri? It's 5 o'clock down there in Cashville, so I know you probably stuck out there too, coming from the ups. You know how it is, but we hearing this thing like a wedgie, baby. You know. We talk about it. We tackle all the topics that come my way, that come across the plate, coming across here, that I can either swing and miss, or I can knock that thing out the park for y'all. So y'all let me know what y'all think out there. What's going on, Matt Seward? Big homie, the little homie Matt Seward in the building. Hope you and the missus and the kids are doing well. Always. It's one of the coldest musicians. You get him on the 5 or the 6 string, Matt Seward gonna croon your ass without saying a word. I'm telling you, we need to link because I need some tracks. We ready to do this thing. It's all, man, today's letter hit home like a mother. You know, I don't like cussing out here. What's going on, Brandy Michelle? I don't like cussing out here on these streets, but, you know, I like to try to keep it clean as possible. But sometimes you got to say damn hell, stuff like that. But today hit home like a mug today. You know, I always like to give my disclaimer whenever I come on here, let y'all know I have never, or I probably never will, pay tuition to go to any school that got me any type of certificates that deal with this particular subject. Now, I am a college graduate. Yes, I am. You know, do have my degree, but none of it is in psychology, psychiatry, and or counseling of any sort. But like I like to say is I've lived a colorful life. Not just my wardrobe or anything like that, but my life itself has been one of color, and I've been close enough to people to sponge up some of the game, living vicariously through them. So all of that put together, I squeeze it back out here to y'all across the airwaves when y'all hit me with these questions. So today, like I say, was coming from experience. Today was coming from being around people who may be going through these things. This one hit home like a mug today. So we're going to dive straight into it. And we're going to ask the questions that we scared to ask ourselves sometimes, you know. Take a sip there. So as always, I like to appreciate anybody who always sends in their letters to hollaattthehomie@gmail.com. That's HOLLAATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com. And that's how we get these questions answered. But if you got my phone number, you can text it to me. I can put all that, I can dissect all of that for you, print it out, whatever I need to do to make sure I can read it properly right here to the people. So again, here we go. It says, Dear host of Holla at the Homie, I hope this letter finds you well and in good spirits. I'm writing to seek your counsel on a matter of a personal professional significance. My predicament, while not unfamiliar to many, has left me in a state of quite introspect. Allow me to preface my query by expressing that I am fortunate enough to be surrounded by a robust network of support. My friends, my family, and colleagues are unfailingly encouraging, and they uplift me at all times, offering their unwavering belief in my abilities and potential. However, it is within myself that I find the greatest obstacle to my advancement. Now, despite this abundance of external support, I am beset by my persistent lack of drive and motivation. It is not that I am bereft of ambition or devoid of dreams. Indeed, I aspire to carve out a successful career as an entertainer. Yet my commitment to myself and my assignments falters with alarming frequency. Procrastination and lack of follow-through have become all too familiar companions on my journey. Now, the frustration and disappointment that accompany this self-sabotage are profound. I am acutely aware that my inability to remain steadfast in my pursuits is thwarting my progress and hindering my potential. Now, I yearn to be honest with myself about these shortcomings and to confront them head on and to cultivate them and the discipline, the resolve necessary to achieve my goals. In this factor, I turn to you. I hope you might be able to offer me some wisdom and guidance. So I have two questions. One, how might I begin to address this lack of commitment to myself? And two, what steps can I take to foster a more enduring sense of motivation to honor the support that surrounds me by honoring my own efforts? Your insights would be invaluable as I seek to navigate this challenging terrain. I eagerly await your response and thank you in advance for your time and consideration. With sincere gratitude, Stuck at a Crossroads. Ew. What's up, Sterling Armstrong? What's up, Kareem Canty? Thank y'all for joining me as well out here. I forgot to hit my waves there, everybody, but you know, blame it on my heart, not on my blind, and blame it on my mind, not on my heart. Y'all know how it is. But woo! How many of y'all hit home? How many of y'all hit home for some of y'all out there? Ken, I had to break it down too, bro. He spoke with eloquence. Like, he ain't lacking in his vocabulary. You need a dictionary. You better break yourself down. I had to break it down myself as well. But how many of that hit home for y'all? What up, Monty Jeezy? What's going on, Mook? You know what I mean? That hit home for a lot of people, especially myself. You know what I mean? Like, I got poems about it. I got whole little, sessions about it. And I've sat in conversations about these things before. And it still was able to hit home to me in an area where I feel like this person could have been me. That's the way I feel like. Now, I don't know if I'd use all them big words. Now, one word I would have used, what's up, Karsten Jewell? One word I would have used is thwart. Everybody know me. I love the word thwart. My wife always be like, stop saying that word. And every time she hears, she think of me. But I know that's one word I would have used in this whole letter that was written. But I felt like this could have been coming from me. What's up, Leslie Johnson? Funny woman of the year. So like I had to ask myself, like, damn, what would I say to me? So like I say at the beginning of this, to preface this, I said, can you look in the mirror and ask the toughest questions to yourself? So in doing this, I kind of got some clarity for some of the things that have been swirling around in my own brain. Y'all chime in, let me know what y'all think, or some of the stuff that may hit home for y'all, or some of the stuff that y'all know me, and according to me, y'all can chime in as well. I'm okay with transparency. That's what I got from this letter, that transparency is something that a cloak that a lot of us can afford to put on if we really gonna wear it with style and class. To be able to put that cloak of transparency on and say, look, I'm gonna look at this all the way through and through and not put up any blockages or anything that's gonna stop me from being like, the person who can receive and give this message. That's when you put on that cloak of transparency. You know what I mean? So, again, I always want to say thank y'all and welcome y'all back to another episode of Holla at the Homie, because the homie hollering today, and shoot, it sounded like an echo because it felt like I was hollering at my damn self. So I've always wanted to recognize that it's a huge step being able to admit that you might be your own biggest blocker. Your biggest CB, your biggest WAP block. You know what I mean? You can't be a WAP block on yourself. You can't be an eggplant block on yourself, metaphorically or literally. So like the thing about it is to look yourself in the eye and be like, man, I'm killing myself in the process. How do I go about that? So first and foremost, first thing I said is, through talking to other people. And again, like I say, a lot of this game that I get comes from being around other people, listening to some of the things they've said to me over the years or around me over the years. Because if you know me, I'm very inquisitive and I be wanting to know stuff. Some people say nosy. I just say I'm very inquisitive and I want to know what's going on. But it's not to tell the business. It's so I can absorb the lessons involved in it. I can know the business, and so I can have it as fuel for myself. So that's one of the first things. And so one of the first things that stuck out to me when I was reading this letter and on how to, what's up, Kamikaze, and decided to say I was going to answer it. And talking to myself and the writer, I said we have to set and create clear and achievable goals. What does that mean, 360? What does it mean to set clear and achievable goals? It may sound like it's easy, but if you break down, what's going on, Mrs. Contreras? If you break down what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So let's say you're trying to run a mile. We're just going to use a mile of track and field. It's the Olympics, trials, all that. So let's get something where everybody can kind of relate. Let's say you're trying to run a mile and you're trying to run a mile in a certain time eventually. First things first, you got to break that mile down into laps. So if you have a goal, you have to be able to break that goal down into smaller, attainable pieces of the goal. It's like putting together something from IKEA. There's no explanation, but there's pictures drawn for you. You have an image, whether it's in your mind or if it's right in your face, to where you can somehow put these things together bit by bit. So you got to take an IKEA approach to your goals. If you're someone who's like the person in this letter, hence someone who's like me and others who are out there in the listening world, right? Somebody who's consistently in our own way. So as I'm dissecting this and breaking this down to myself, I said, well, Ish, what I got to do? Okay, this is a big ass goal. I got to break this letter down. So let's break it down little bit by little bit. So you got to be able to attain little achievable goals, like smaller actionable steps. And that way you can focus on the big goal without actually focusing on the big goal. If you know you're constantly working towards something, so say for instance, you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to gain muscle. You know, if you do 10 push-ups or 10 sit-ups, that it may not, have you with a six-pack automatically or have you with bouncing pecs automatically, but you can feel something working in there. You feel it. So you've done an attainable goal, breaking it down into, but the thing about that is, as I say that, the second point came to mind, right? I said to myself, like, okay, I got that. Okay, I got that. I've tried that before. You may tell yourself, all right, that didn't work the last time. Like the diet I went on didn't work, or the workout plan that I was on didn't work the last time. Now, but did you just try to work out, Will, or 360, or did you just throw something at the wall and see what's stuck? So, and within that, I asked myself, did I create a routine? That's the second point. First, you got to break down and clarify each individual achievable goals, right? Now, when you're going at those little pieces at a time, whether it's workout, whether it's IKEA, all these analogies I've given you so far, now you have to create a routine and consistently, because discipline stems from consistency. Would you say, Dakari, I'm definitely experiencing this situation right now? My answer is consistent. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Consistency. Do the little bit every day. The examples are the latter. You have to get step by step. You can't get to the top missing 3 or 4 steps. Exactly. That's another analogy. But you have to have the discipline, which will create. It comes from consistency. You can't just automatically be disciplined in doing something just because you did it one time. No, you got up and got out and got something for the moment, but have you consistently done that? Again, you know that those 10 push-ups, those 10 sit-ups are not going to give you the look you're going for. You know that just looking at the first block of pictures on the IKEA description on how to put together this entertainment center is not going to have your TV put up at the end on that thing. So what are you going to do? You have to create a routine of consistency, and that comes from discipline. And discipline comes from consistency. They give off each other. If you consistently do something, you are becoming disciplined. And if you have the discipline to consistently do something, now you're attaining your goals. So break it down, rewind. How do we get ourselves out of our way? 1, we got to set smaller, achievable portions of the big goal. That's step 1, right? Step 2, create a routine. Get a routine together, whether, if you need to break it down and be like it's a dance routine. Nobody knows the Tamiya step the first time they see it. Some people still ain't got it and been trying at it over and over and over again. Some people still can't do the wobble. But I bet everybody can do the cha-cha slide. I bet everybody can do the Cupid shuffle because there are consistent steps. What's going on, Antonio D. Taylor? There are consistent steps and instructions that people follow. They break it down. Nobody told us how to do the electric slide, but we can all do it because it's portions that are broken down. And I bet if we do the same thing with the Tamiya slide, or, using that as a complicated problem that we keep trying and not attaining, that's the same thing we're doing here, right? Getting in our own way. We getting our own way because, what's up, Superman in the car biz? We getting in our own way because we're not breaking the dance down. We're not creating a consistent routine. That's where we're falling off the wagon at. We're falling off because we're not breaking it down. So when we do it and think we're just going to attain this big goal automatically, then we get frustrated. We get pissed off at ourselves like, man, see, that's why I ain't doing this no more. And I'm just telling you conversations I've had in my own head. I've told you, my personalities talk to each other. I would no longer say I'm a functioning schizophrenic, but I do have different people that I tap into in here. You know what I mean? I won't say that because people say words have power, and I do understand that words have power, and I don't want to be, what up, Al Rich? I don't want to be like, giving those words power and making myself a schizo, but I am in tune with every idea and different personality that lives within inside of here. right? So with that, I'm telling myself, like, that's why we don't do this no more, man, because it don't work. But then I'm looking at it this way. Have I ever broken down first of all, my next point is going to talk about this, but have I ever broken down my big goal, right? And have I done anything that's consistent to get me to that big goal? That's the first 2 steps, right? But the biggest step in there is finding your why. Why the Hello Kitty am I doing this in the first place? Why? Tell me why. There's songs about it. You know what I mean? Tell me why I'm doing this in the first place. So that'll help you understand, like, if you know what your why is, then you can see that. You can see that on the horizon. That's why I do it, to make sure I can do this, to make sure I'm attaining this, to make sure that the world is hearing this, to make sure that I get this off my chest. Whatever your why is, once you see it, and once you determine what that why is, then you can begin to break it down into achievable goals. Then you can begin to break those goals down and do them on a consistent basis. What up, Swanshay? Long time, sister. Salute. Ain't seen you in a minute. Let's get together soon and do some poetry or something. Spit some bars. But what about those? What is your why? What'd you say, Mrs. Control? Without structure, nothing works. Exactly. What's up, Pam Torrey? Without structure, nothing works. Like, try to put together a house without having a blueprint. What's up, Imp the sequel? Try to put together anything without having a blueprint first. It won't stay up. The structure needs to be established. And in that's first understanding what it's going to look like. If you're going to have a blueprint for something, you have to know what it looks like in the end. You ain't never seen a blueprint printed out where you don't know what the house look like. It doesn't make sense. It's pointless, purposeless. Pointless, purposeless. To think you got a plan and you don't know what the end goal is. I ain't gonna lie. We talking transparency, right? We talking transparency. That right there, before I started breaking this all down and dissecting this letter, was my biggest problem. Somebody would ask me, well, what do you want to do? And I could never give a clear and concise answer. So how can I put together a blueprint, or how can I ask them to help me architect this blueprint if I don't even know what the hell it looked like at the end? Why the hell am I doing it? That's the question. You got to ask yourself these questions. And again, when you look in the mirror, this caused me to look in the mirror in a big way, dog. In a major way. And I realized that was my biggest problem amongst all these things in which I answered in this letter. That I never knew what the big picture looked like. I can talk about all the rooms in it. I can talk about how magnificent it is in comparison to other structures. How humble it is in its own right without being too gaudy, but being enough to say, damn. I can talk about all of that. But what is it? WTF is it, bruh? And I would sit there and I asked myself when I looked at this thing and said, what is it you want to do, 360? What is it you want to do, dog? And I couldn't answer for a minute. For a while, I could not answer anybody, including myself. So if you're going through these things, the first person you need to answer is you. Ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this? You say if you don't know what it is, then it never becomes appealing to you. Exactly. If you didn't know what it is, it can never truly take form. Like, you can't say, oh, I want to buy some shoes. I want to buy some shoes. But if you never look online and you never walk in the store, your feet going to be the same as they been. You don't know what shoes you want to buy. If you want to build a house from scratch. I know a couple people out there, one of them on the line right now. Salute, Kareem. That built her house from ground up. Cool meal on here. Built his house from ground up. But I bet if you asked them when they told you they were building a house, they knew exactly what it was going to look like when they got finished. Then they could tell you about the rooms. What's up, Sadiq? Inch Mob in the building. You know what I mean? And they could tell you about the rooms inside of them. Not just about the rooms. They could tell you about the structure, about what was going to be what, when the ground was going to get broken. They had all the structure together, but it was broken down into segments. So, you know, hindsight being 2020, I'm thinking about the conversations I've had with some of my friends. Like I said, all this information I'm giving y'all online and on the airwaves, I never claimed all of this is coming straight out my mind and out my heart. Some of it, again, like I say, I vicariously live through others and I sponge up their game. So what I did was I tapped into some of my more successful friends who've done what they wanted to do. And I said, well, I look back, how the hell they do that? Would you say, Mrs. Contreras, and be willing to make changes along the way as needed? Yes. See, that was another fear of mine. Thinking I wanted to make sure I had it all together, not change nothing. It's going to work the way I want it to work. Nah, bruh. Watching them, they said ish got messed up. Plans didn't work out. You know, different permits had to be made. I'm just saying this as people who I know who built their house from the ground up, and we're using this as a metaphor. So I had to look at that like, 360. Yeah, I know you want to build this, but what you got to do, you got to break it down. Make sure your permit people is ready to rock. Make sure the people who you contract to help you. First of all, you got to help. You got to allow people to help you. You can't do everything by yourself. The person in this letter said that they got support. They got support. So it's not like they out there on a limb by themselves. They got support. But are they using it? No, they're not. But one of the questions at a crossroads he said, question number 2, what steps can I take to foster a more motivation to be able to honor and support those that surround me by honoring my own efforts? Like, he asked that question. Or, it's a he. I looked at this page. It's a he. What do you say, Jorge? You say you got to want help yourself to get out of the situation you're in. You've got to, you not only want it, you got to be willing to receive it. But another thing, receive it in the way that it's given. If you think that somebody, again, we talked about that a few weeks ago. You can't just be mad at somebody because they giving you portions of what your help is needed. If they chipping in to help you, let them give you that. Let them help you. Exactly, Curtis Williams, little by little. You can't ask your contractor to be your plumber too. Let them help you in the way in their lane, man. And you got to be willing to understand and know what it is that you want and need. There's no way to build a house and put together a blueprint if you don't know what it's supposed to look like. So there's no way to get out your way and dive into the things you're supposed to be doing without knowing what you're supposed to be doing, without knowing what you want to do. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. You understand what I'm saying? So, side by side, you got to allow people to help structure that, help create and build that structure for you and with you. Not just for you, with you. What's up, Lulu Tally? Long time. Help your vacation was cool. You know what I mean? So you got to allow people to help put the nails in where they supposed to go. You got to allow people to lay down the carpet. You got to allow people to be in that structure in their capacity. But along with you, not just for you. Remember that right there. Along with you, not just for you. You got to be able to, because once you know what it's supposed to look like, would you say, Mr. Contreras, I had to learn to allow people to help me because I was used to doing everything yourself. And a lot of people are, myself included. You know what I mean? Myself included. I'm used to doing everything solo dolo. I got it. Don't worry, I got it. And if I don't got it, oh well, I'm going to make it happen some way, hook or crook. Or I'm going to try to escape from it. I'm going to run from it. Nobody's perfect. But once you find out that why, though, that why makes the biggest difference because that in itself can reignite your motivation. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that in itself can reignite that motivation. See, with me, like, one of my biggest things was, I got a lot of whys. But again, I got to focus on one at a time. I got a lot of whys. Like, why do I want to do that? Why do I want to do that? Why do I want to do that? And then they all get swirled around. So again, I was telling myself that once I break it down into more achievable goals, I'll be able to attain all of those. So that's the same thing I'm telling, what's the name, Stuck at the Crossroads. That's the same thing I'm telling him. Like, you got to be able to find out what your why is. And once you establish that, I promise you, that's going to spark you. That's your... You understand? Like, it's a reason why people work on old schools, because they want to hear that growl. You know, maybe taking forever to get that old school started. But once you hear that, all that carburetor, all that oil pan, all those changes that you made a difference. What's up, Melly Mel? All that made a difference to getting the big picture taken care of. I even started, again, me, I be, herbally lifted. And so I'm thinking of different things. Like, I got to look at stuff like drawing a portrait or even paint by numbers. That's what I had to start looking at. My why, I got to look at like paint by numbers. Let me do all the 9s first. That'll create a clearer picture somewhere over here. Let me finish all the 9s first. And maybe once I focus on those, then that'll make me want to fill in other numbers around. I just use 9 because I like that number. It's a cool number. Do whatever color works for you best, right? But like, I'm just saying, like, in order to get that big picture painted, you have to do paint by numbers, little by little. Break it down and create a routine of that. Artists don't paint a portrait in one day. They do it by some do, little sketches or whatever. Some are, whatever. But in the same right, they don't get it out to the world at the same time. It's people out here doing little bitty stuff that's not even art, but they getting out the picture that you want to paint. So Stuck at a Crossroads, there's people out here jumping off the porch, and you standing there looking. Like I said, I got pieces in poetry that deal with this. One of the first lines is say, so you've come to a point in your life where the things you say, people actually want to hear. But you're not clear on whether you have the gear to turn this into a career. Listen here. You got to strike while the iron is hot. Because the gifts that you got, quite frankly, everyone does not. And I know that you think that the time you have left is a lot. But just because you stalling on your balling don't mean that the world gonna stop. Tick-tock. Tick-tock is the thunderous war cry of your most opponent. Everybody faces him, but the one who've been successful say the win is wrapped up in how bad you want it. You see what I'm saying? So like, all that's consistent to what's going on in this letter. I wrote that back in pre-pandemic. I know for a fact I wrote that pre-pandemic. But the fact that it turned around and came full circle right now in this moment in the world lets me further know that all of us have pieces that we've put up on the shelf, right? Things that we've put to the side. But those last words I said in there, I said the successful ones let you know that the win is wrapped up in how bad you want it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they put some stuff to the side, but they went back and got it and put it in play. So again, my first three points to stuck at a crossroads is first, get a smaller achievable goals that are leading towards the big goal, right? 2 is to create a routine. In other words, get disciplined enough to have consistency, right? My third thing was find out why and what the hell you doing and why you doing it. What is the big picture? What's the house look like that you're trying to build and create this blueprint for, right? And then now my next thing is, and this is where when I started to write this portion, I was damn near in tears because it's not a long word, but it's a word a lot of us say a lot of times, but we don't follow through with it, right? And that's accountability. You got to take accountability for, if you have not or if you refuse to do the first 3 steps. You got to use your support network to hold you accountable. But again, like another thing I said in my snippet to start the show was, do you have the wherewithal to receive and take on and swallow the answers that you ask yourself? Or if you ask your friends or your people that are supporting you to keep you accountable, and they do, you can't get mad when they call you to the plate. When they ask you, okay, so where we at with what we talked about? And you be like, well, means we ain't nowhere. So you got to take accountability for that. If you gonna ask somebody to help you in that regard, then damn it, stick to itiveness. You got to see it through. You got to see it through. When you up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet, and take a brace. You know what I mean? You got to see it through, man. You got to get ready for whatever it's going to give you. Be ready to take, we talked about it before, be ready to take that chin check. Take that chin check, but it's you giving it to yourself. When I wrote the word accountability, it felt like I slapped myself across the face like, dang it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, McFly. You know, so that right there in itself, like, you know, once you find your why, once you break it down into smaller pieces, once you create a routine and you got discipline, and now you saying, I'm going to step up to the plate and take whatever this brings me. Because I can't move any further if I continue to regress. If I keep stepping back and not accepting the challenge, I'll never, ever, ever, ever make it to the finish line. If I can't step it, if I'm in the blocks and the gun shoot and I'm just still sitting there, I can't blame anybody else for somebody being in front of me who I know should not be. Ooh, that's what made me cry. Like, who can I blame? I talk all this ish about when you point the finger at other people, 3 fingers pointing right back at you. I never said my, me, myself, and I. And it sounds like stuck at a crossroads is what you got to do. You got to receive your personal chin check. That's why today's message is about personal accountability. I mean, it's about personally asking yourself those questions. You got to ask yourself this. This goes out to anybody who's stuck somewhere and not being able to move forward and you wondering why. Are you accountable for your shortcomings? Do you have anybody on your team that you allow to check you like that? Because we don't check ourselves like that all the time. We give ourselves so much grace and space. It takes those moments where you're in the mirror, in the closet, or you crying, or whatever the case may be, you stuck wondering like, WTF? To ask yourself the question. So we don't check ourselves enough. Do you have anybody on your team that not only supports you, but is that you're willing to take that check from? What's up, Sherry Berry? That you're willing to take that check from? Are you willing to let any of your friends say, hey, bruh, pow, shut up and do what you said you was going to do? I don't hear any excuses. Excuses like butt cracks. All of us got them, and most likely they stink. I don't want no excuses. You know, so do you have somebody who's going to not allow you to give those excuses? This is all part of the growth process. This is all part of the building this. Again, like I'm going to go back to my friends. Mill on one side, Kareen on the other side. Do you think that they didn't have somebody telling them, nah, I know you want that, but it's not going to go that way? We can't build that way. Yes, we can get it there, but we're going to have to do something different. And you're going to have to allow them to tell you that, okay, you know what? This is your expertise in this. Like if I'm asking somebody to help me write a resume and I'd be like, I don't like the way that they telling you. Look, bro, this is what's working. I work in HR. I work in hiring. I work in casting. I work in this. I've been successful at this. You understand what I'm saying? If I, like, for instance, if I get off this thing today and within the next 24 to 48 hours, if I don't call my friend Kareem, who has a TED Talk who, if I don't call her and talk to her, be like, what the did you do to get that? If I don't call her within the next 48 hours, I'm bullshitting myself. So, stuck at a crossroads, if you don't use some of what I'm telling you today, finding out why you want to do what you want to do, what it is that you want to do, creating a routine and discipline, if you don't break it down into smaller pieces, if you don't get somebody to hold you accountable, what up, JJ? If you don't find somebody to hold you accountable, then you bullshitting yourself, stuck at a crossroads. I told you this letter right here hit home for me. Home, like inside the park home run. It ain't going nowhere. The ball's still in there rattling around. I know you've been there, Coco. I know you've been there. Again, like I said, I haven't pulled the trigger. It ain't on you. It ain't on you. I promise it ain't. I promise it ain't on you, Coco. You know what I mean? If I want to know how to get more sponsors for my show and I don't look my fucking producer / station owner in the face and be like, hey, how your show on Tuesday nights got 7 million sponsors? Then I'm bullshitting myself. How do I get that? Or a portion of that? Then I'm BSing myself. So stuck at a crossroads, you stuck. Yeah, we stuck, but we create our own quicksand at times. We thwart, there go my word, we thwart our own progress. Would you say, Mrs. Contreras, we all been there, just some of us can't admit it? That's it. What they say about, what'd you say, first part of getting over something is admitting it? First part of getting over a habit is admitting that you got it? I got a habit of bullshitting myself. So sounds like stuck at a crossroads, you similar to me. And you don't even live out this way. So it ain't like you watching my moves. But this is one thing you got to let yourself know. If these first 4 steps haven't been something that you've jumped on board with, then you bullishing yourself. I had to tell myself that as I cried as I wrote these. I told you I was in tears by the time I wrote the word that I got to be accountable or allow somebody to hold me accountable. You know how technology work today? Ain't no excuse on why you can't sit and have a meeting with somebody. Face to face. Zoom go, excuse my language, but FaceTime work, Facebook Messenger work, Instagram Messenger work. There's no excuse. Stuck at a crossroads. I said that to myself 360. There's no excuse. So we got to, that's one thing. If any of y'all are out there in the world and you stuck in a crossroads like this individual who wrote this letter, then you got to eliminate the excuses by allowing somebody to hold you accountable. Find out what it is that you want to do in the first place. Create a routine and some discipline to get you there. And before all of that, you got to break it down into small pieces, right? But I don't want to just act like I'm just going to come down. Again, I always play devil's and angel's advocate, right? So after you do all that, one thing that I never allowed myself to do was celebrate the little wins. Yeah, you may not have hit a home run, dog. You may not have completed this entire process. You may not have built this whole house, but you've talked to a contractor. You've got the permits, but you hit a single. You got on base. Celebrate the small wins. Don't wait for the big achievement to celebrate. Because what this does is acknowledge and reward yourself for the small victories, because that'll make you want to continue to attain them. What do you do for a kid when you want them to do right? You reward them for little stuff. So you got to break yourself down. You have to put this in its infancy. Your issue is an infant. It's a child that's wanting to grow within you in this process, right? So you have to reward it with little stuff. Be like, damn, I had that talk. I had that call. Boom. That's what's up. Give yourself a sticker on the calendar or something. You know what I mean? Whatever it may be. Whatever makes you feel good about accomplishing something. Don't pop no bottle for the small wins, but you can metaphorically pop a bottle. You know, if the popping the bottle was what you were going to do for the big win, that is. Now, if you popping the bottle for the small wins because you're going to buy out the bar for the big wins, then pop on. on. The small win, the small reward has to match the small win, you know? So, you know, that'll keep you motivated. That'll keep you going, right? So that's the biggest thing you gotta be tuned in with, right? As you celebrate the small wins, you know? But, you know, because with that, what that does is that gives you compassion for yourself. That's my next step. You got to remember to be kind to you. Don't just beat yourself up through this, because that's not a good feeling. The situation itself is beating you up. You know, so like I said before, words have power, right? When you be like, damn, man, I ain't never, you know, oh, man, see, I told you, you ain't going to do it right. You know, if you start beating yourself up for the things that you shoot and miss, then two things will happen. You'll stop making shots more because you'll stop taking more shots. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just give up on yourself because you don't have a small win to celebrate. Just like you celebrate the small wins, don't destroy everything you got going on for the small setbacks. Meaning you got to have compassion for yourself. You got to be kind to you through the process. Everybody struggles with motivation in one thing or another. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has a time where, you know, they want to beat themselves up rather than continue to approach the journey as they were, right? Just, you know, but minimize that. You know, try to find a way to not only not beat yourself up, but learn from it. Learn from, okay, that I missed that shot because I didn't do what the person who was holding me accountable for told me to do. I didn't lock my elbow. I didn't, you know, aim my elbow. I didn't follow through with my finger. That's why I missed that shot. You know? So you can't just grab the opportunity and just throw it up. You got to have structure even to that jump shot. Somebody taught you. Somebody holding you accountable for doing that. And they're going to ask you how many shots you make. 2 out of 10. Did you do this? What's up, Lens? Did you do this? Did you do that? No. But don't get mad that you didn't do it. Just be like, right, you're right. I didn't take the small steps. Exactly. Give yourself, exactly. That's why I said to give yourself, exactly, Lindsay. You got to give yourself that amount of grace back. Like I said before, when we the only person holding ourselves accountable, we give ourselves too much grace. But don't forget to give yourselves grace. You know? But and with that, that's with the patience that you have to have in building these things. They're not, you know, the old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, or a home wasn't built in a day, or whatever the case may be, right? Like, again, I refer back to my friends, you know, Mill, Kareem. Like, their house wasn't built overnight. They had to put structure into it. But I'm pretty sure they wanted it done before it was done, but they allowed themselves the grace to receive the setbacks as not being too tumultuous. They didn't take them out. A setback wasn't a sit down. You know, it didn't sit them down. And you can't allow your small setbacks to sit you down on the bench. You can't bench yourself. You got to stay in the game. Yes, you may miss, but you know the shots you miss for sure, the ones you don't take. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, too, when we were talking about the dude who didn't pull the trigger with his neighbor. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So be willing to miss. That's giving yourself grace. Be willing to not be so on point. I'm so critical. I'm critical as hell when it comes to me. So that's when I was talking about this, I was already deep in tears. So you already know how it is. I was already crying my eyeballs out, you know. That's another thing, Mrs. Contreras. Live vicariously through your own mistakes. Learn from them. Be like, damn, that's why I missed that shot. Okay, I remember I didn't do that. I didn't do this. Okay, I'm not going to beat myself up because, yeah, I got up. I took aim. I've had follow through, but something along the lines didn't go right. I got with my contractor. I talked to him about this house, but something in there said, well, this, you know, it's a pipeline going through there. We can't dig for your basement right there. We may have to go and be a side basement, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever the mistakes were in the original planning, learn from them and give yourself patience and grace to be able to correct what it is you didn't have the right in the first place. You know, don't BS yourself in thinking that you going to be the first person to get it all done in one try for a big picture. If that's the case, the picture wasn't big enough. My bad, about to lose my headphones. If you get the big picture done in one try, the picture wasn't big enough. It wasn't. That means you got more to build. You got more acreage on there that you ain't building no house on. You know? And by all means, you know, always say, like, if you've been unable to, or if you have been able to even achieve these things, like finding out your why, breaking it down into smaller pieces, having the discipline to go at it little bit by little bit, getting somebody to hold you accountable and receiving that accountability, giving yourself small wins and celebrating those, or giving yourself the compassion and patience to not be winning. Throughout all of that, if all of this still isn't clicking, you know, I'm always in for, you know, for professional help. And that doesn't always mean a counselor. Sometimes that can be a life coach. You know, same person I've been talking about this whole time, Kareen, she's a life coach. Kareen Coaches. That's her Instagram. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, you may have to get professional help. Sometimes that just happens mine just happens to come from within my inner circle. And if I don't seek it, again, I'm bull-ishing myself. So stuck at a crossroads, don't be afraid to get somebody that can say, hey, I'm going to listen to what you got to say, and I'm going to help put you in a structured manner, and I'm going to hold you accountable. And that may be their profession. So don't be afraid to go to somebody if that's what they do. If they in that lane, take the ride with them. Take notes while you on the ride. You see the scenery around you better when you a passenger. Have you ever sat back and rode to your own crib from the same place you've been riding from for every day that you've been driving? Things look different. It looked different coming over the 215, coming over off by Windmill. When I'm in the passenger seat, I can see all of McDonald Highlands. But when I'm driving, I don't see nothing but the 215. So you got to be able to seek the professional help. If you're coming home in an Uber that way, let the professionals drive you. If you allow to get in that lane, it may be a counselor, it may be a life coach, it may just be somebody who does what it is that you're trying to do. They're a professional at it. If they get paid for it, they're a pro. Anything you get paid for, you're a professional. That's my belief. So if somebody gets paid for doing what it is you trying to do, allow them to help you get there. That's my thing. You know? So stuck at a crossroads, I hope I was able to help you get through this struggle, because I know I helped myself. So I hope I was able to help you. I couldn't wait to get on here to tell you how you just, we in the same gang, bruh. We on the same boat. Well, we were. Hopefully you hopping on the boat that I'm on now too, with productivity behind myself, finding out what my why was, what picture did I want to build. And even if it was a bunch of pictures, breaking them down into which ones I needed them to be in, smaller attainable pictures. Now it's about finding that, thank you, Mr. Contreras. Now it's about finding out that routine, getting that discipline that you're looking for. Where's that going to come from, okay? So make sure you got your accountability partner. Make sure that you give yourself some grace and some space. Celebrate your small wins, bruh, because that's what I'm about to start doing. So anybody out there who ever got an issue, got a question, got a concern, holla at the homie, because most likely one of these personalities in here got that same issue, so I'll be able to holler back at y'all. So until next time, make sure y'all stay motivated and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'm 360 the Poet. I'm out in a minute.